Hey everybody, this is Tiffany, and today I thought I'd share with you my December daily album from 2014. If you've been listening to our recent episodes of the Scrap Gals podcast, then you know that Tracy and I have been talking about December daily for a couple of weeks now. I'll be taking part in this project again this year, and hopefully I'll be able to share with you a video at some point of how I'm setting that up. But for now, I thought I'd follow through with what a few members in our community had asked, and that was if we were willing to share our December dailies from years past. So I looked on my shelf, kind of took a glance at what I had handy, and I found this 2014 December daily album that was unfinished. When I looked at it, I saw that I had only completed through day 25. While most people do their December dailies that way, I've always worked all the way through the end of the month, December 31st. Well, given the fact that I wanted to go ahead and share this with you, I decided to call 2014 finished at day 25. So all I had to do was to work on the cover of the album. And that's what I did today before sharing this video with you. So the cover is simply some Heidi Swapp material as well as some items from the Recollections brand at Michael's. The number stickers are Heidi Swapp. I think the Christmas tree and the label and the flag are all Recollections. I'm not sure where this piece of flair came from. It may be October Afternoon because I use quite a bit of October Afternoon stuff in this particular album, but I'm not 100%. The star is Heidi Swapp, and then the little enamel dots and sequins and pearls were just things that I gathered from all sorts of packages that I already had open in order to decorate my Christmas tree. I popped up, I don't know if you can tell, from this angle or not, but I popped up the tree and the label to give the cover a little bit of depth, and I'm really happy with the way this turned out. This is a 6x8 October Afternoon album, and for most of it I do not use page protectors. There are just a couple of pages where I do. Now, for some reason I didn't do a title page in 2014. And I thought about going back and doing one now, and then I was like, well, that's sort of crazy. I just need to show them what it actually looked like. So here's a December daily album that doesn't have an opening title page, and you may have, seen them like that before, but most people, at least, and even in my own experience, I usually have a title page. This is a selfie of me at work, and one of the things that I talk about in the podcast is worrying about whether I do enough Christmassy stuff to actually do a December daily album. I think you'll see in this particular month here that I have some Christmassy activities, but a lot of the stories that I tell are just things about, my regular life. Day 2 is a picture of me with some of my students that year. I do have a pull-out journaling card, which is something I do pretty frequently. I think that's kind of interesting. And I cherish having this picture with the seniors from that year because, of course, they've all graduated. Day 3 is another one of my former students who came to visit me. As a high school teacher, December is full of students who like to come back and visit once they're home from university. And here, this picture's a little bit blurry, but you know what? I don't care because I'm so glad that I have that picture with my former student Scrap. Day 4 is another selfie, this time of me in front of my Christmas tree. And you all know me, I'm kind of like the queen of selfies. But I included just a small page next to it with the date and also with some journaling. That has popped up a little bit. Oops. Now see, that's what happens when you start trying to mess with things. I jacked up my little sequin there. I'll have to go back and fix that. Oops. I like this little page. It's the back of it is just filler. It's just decorative, but it was really fun to use that printed die cut and another Project Lifestyle card. Day 5 is a problem that I have a lot, actually. I really like it when my day is open. You have one side which has the day or the date on it, and then the other side is the journaling. But it didn't work out like that. So on this side, I have this large picture of the fella and me. And then on the back, I have the story about that photo that we went to Holiday Pops, which is a performance by the Symphony Orchestra at our local university. I have my ticket, and I'm really glad I have that memory. Day 6 was a really big day. It was a date day. We went to see the Country Hall of Fame Museum, and we were in Nashville, for like 15 hours or something. So I wanted to be able to tell a lot of that story. And I found this little file folder. I have no idea what brand it is or how long I'd had it. I think it'd probably been in my stash a really long time. But I was able to include so much. I have this picture of the fella and me. I have the story with a little decorative October afternoon card there. I have a photo of the outside of the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. I have the brochure from that visit. And then on the back, I have kind of a silly picture that I took wearing a cowboy hat. That was a really fun day, and this is something that I want to make sure that I do maybe in this year's December Daily album too. I'm not sure where I would get these particular folders now, but I would think that you could even just cut down a manila folder and decorate it. So that's something that I may be checking out. Day 7 is about Charlie Dog needing a haircut and working on shaving him down a little bit. Day 8 is another example of a day that didn't really have a Christmassy story to go along with it. I'd had a couple of moles removed from my dermatologist, and I had to go in and have my stitches taken out. I didn't have a story for day 8 to tell besides that, so guess what? That became a story in my December Daily album. And that's perfectly fine. There's really nothing Christmassy about it. Even my title is a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It wasn't exactly the most fun thing I'd ever done. But I'm glad that I documented it. I think it was worth that. Day 9 is a story about going to see my first hockey game, the Predators versus the Blackhawks. And it was a lot of fun. I'm not necessarily a very sporty person, but I enjoyed being able to do that. And I thought that the cold weather decorations and stuff went with this particular story because it was about going to see a hockey game that's on ice and it's super cold, and you see how I was thinking there. Day 10 is another picture that I took with a former student who came back to visit, which I loved. Day 11 is one of the few stories that I have that is in a page protector, and I don't know if I did this on purpose or not because I don't remember it, but really the day needs to go on this side and the pictures need to go back here because this is all day 11. So I don't know if I just put that in there backwards or if there were some reason that I did it that way. Some stories about my sweet louder dog who is no longer with us. And that was day 11. You'll notice too that my numbers are all different. They're in different places, they're different sizes, they're different styles. I'm not sure honestly how I feel about that. That may be something that I change for this year because even though there's part of me that thinks that that's kind of boring, I also think it would lend some continuity and cohesion to the album that it's missing otherwise. So stay tuned to see what I do this year. Day 12 includes some other kids who came back who had already graduated. They came back to visit, so I had somebody snap a picture of us, and then I have a selfie there too. I was like in my eye makeup that day, I think, the best I remember. Day 13, I went to Tracy's house to podcast, and she snapped a photo of me next to her Christmas tree. I always love her decorations, so I'm glad to have that photo because of that, but I'm also glad to have a full-length photo. Y'all know that with selfies, it's kind of hard to get your whole body in there. And while I'm like every other woman, I don't always love having my picture taken. But I thought that that one was a pretty flattering shot, and so I was glad that I have it. Day 14 is a selfie I took with my Christmas tree. You know, when I don't have any other story to tell, that's always a good story to do. So just snap a photo of either your tree or some of your decorations or yourself with your tree or your decorations. Day 15 was about finals week at work, And I just included this little journaling card, and I have the information about the weather, so I thought that might be fun to look back at some future point. On day 16, Kelsey and I got together and had dinner together after school, which was kind of fun. I don't get to see her every day, but I'm glad I was able to document that in my December daily. December 17th was pajama day at school, and so I was visiting the front office staff, and somebody snapped our picture. It's not the most flattering picture in life, but I've worked with these two women for more than 10 years. I think that's probably the only photo that we have together. So I'm really glad that I have it and that I was able to tell that brief little story. Day 18, you'll notice I have another little pull-out card here in a glassine envelope. But day 18 was about a former student coming back to visit. It was about grading final exams, and it was about trying to get my Airbnb reservation in order for my Paris trip in 2015. Day 19 was Ugly Christmas Sweater Day, and so I posed with some of my students who had their ugly Christmas sweaters on, and then I also posed with my bestie since she was wearing one too. I have another one of those cards that pulls out with my journaling on it, and I really like the interactive nature of all that. I like the textural elements that are created there. Day 20 is about a horse carriage ride that we took that was quite nostalgic and romantic. And on the back you can see kind of a blurry picture of the fella and me. And then of course I have this pull-out journaling card too. This is one of the few pages that I have that's actually in a page protector, so sorry about that glare. Day 21 is me all dressed up going to a holiday party. You can see some of my decorations there on the side. Day 22 is about Tracy and I exchanging